Hello, hello. Welcome to another walking session podcast episode. Mazmila here. A disclaimer that I don't do disclaimers. While I'm a psychologist, this is not therapy. You know the drill. Take what resonates with you and throw the rest out. Now, grab your headphones, grab your shoes, grab a puppy, and let's walk this one out. Hello, and a little bit of a 2025 goodbye, not to you, to the year. How exciting is this time of the year where you don't know what day it is, what time it is, Christmas has passed, New Year's Eve is coming one day. I love this in-between space. And what I love to do in this in-between space is take a moment to, when the chaos has died down a little bit, like the Christmas chaos, take a little bit of a pause and a moment to reflect on the year that was and set some goals and start living up to those goals in the lead up to New Year's. I like to give them a little trial run. I don't know if anyone else does that. I think if you've been here for a while, you've heard me say this before. I never start on the 1st. I never start on the Monday. I always give myself a little bit of a runway to things to have some trial and error. And listen, I am going to talk about goal setting today, but a very different way of goal setting, hence the how to set 3 goals for 2026 from a performance psychologist topic. And I don't want to bore you with smart goals, smarter goals, blah, 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 blah. That's not what we're here to do. I kind of want to point out the importance of putting pen to paper, though, no matter how you're setting your goals. And it's not so much about doing them perfectly, doing the goal setting perfectly. I think the most useful part of goal setting is the bit where you review them. And if you're new to goal setting or you even have done them, I'll pop the resource of the life review in and how I like to do them. I think you'll be able to work that out. That resource is handy if you don't know what goals you want to set. But it's also useful. It's got useful worksheets in there if you're an athlete you've got a specific goal in mind. So you can use it for that, you can use it for business, whatever. But the key thing with goals is the review process, because a lot of people set goals and say, these goal setting at this end of bloody year doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work if you just set it and leave it there and you have not put any actions to those goals. And if you haven't sat down to review them, and here's a key word, and you've heard me say it before, seasonally. So what that means is that maybe if you set a goal before your kids started going to school, and that's a season, and then they start going to school and it's a whole new adjustment to you as a family, then that's a seasonal time to review those goals and readjust them and see what worked and what didn't and what might work better in the new season. If you've set goals at the start of a training or competition season as a performer or a triathlete, I was about to say, because I'm saying triathlete because I'm literally looking at a wall of triathlon bibs that my husband's created. So yeah, if you're a triathlete and there's an upcoming season, set those goals at the start, but make sure that when the season is over, or you're heading into a different training block for some sports, that you review and look at what worked, what didn't work. And it's also okay if you've changed and certain goals don't matter that you thought would, or some of them you go, I've really had a good go at this and I just don't want, I don't know. I'm not in your head despite of what people think. So do that. So I'll pop that download there, but I kind of want to talk about goal setting a little bit different today, and a little bit in a looser way, yet a more deeper way. I know I do like to dig deep, and I feel like 2025 has literally been one of those. 2025, I don't know if anyone else is listening, has been a year, I feel, for me personally, and maybe actually it's not for me personally. I've heard this a lot from clients and people. Bit of a year of revelation in terms of seeing the same thing and nothing around them has changed, but seeing it differently and going, I get it. That's what that is. I've heard about boundaries, but that's what they look like. Or maybe you've been saying, I don't know, it's like, I'm trying to think what else I've heard. Maybe you've been saying, that really annoys me, and you've just sat at that really annoys me for a while, but this year you're like, no, but I can see why that annoys me now. I'm looking at it from a different, maybe more distant perspective, and as a result, maybe you've adjusted. Nothing around you's changed. You've just adjusted. Does that make sense? I feel like that was the vibe for 25, and I think it's going to be even stronger in the new year. Or I hope it is, because seeing people do these things always leads to a good destination in my experience. Taking a sip because I am in the podcast studio, aka the sauna. Hopefully the breakthroughs are a bit more gentle than what they have been in these recording sessions when I literally fell through. But let's see how we go. But yeah, so here's my 3 goals, and you will notice that pattern of if you've done this last year, or if you've got a piece of paper, or maybe it's in your notes somewhere, go back and see what your goals were the last time you wrote them down. It doesn't matter if it was last year, 2 years, at some point somewhere. I have notes in my phone dating back to over a decade. Over a decade. How crazy is that? And I love it. I love looking back on those journals and notes. Anyway, so the number one is, this is your number one goal. You want to figure out this year, if you haven't already, why do your needs come last? And this is not like everyone else does this to me. That's not what we're doing. We're doing this as a self-reflection on how you contribute to the idea that your needs come last. Because here's the thing, we can't change other people. All we can do is change ourselves. And to quote the famous Dr. Phil, you teach people how you want to be treated. So sometimes you might feel like you're being more flexible, or you might be thinking, well, cooking dinner is more important than getting in the sauna. I'm in the sauna now, so I thought of that. Or, I don't know, doing a workout. But that is setting the precedent that other people are more important than you. It's also not leaving a lot of room for solutions, because your solution became giving up your time and what's important to you, rather than looking at what works. Well, maybe on a Tuesday, it gets too tired after work to do a workout, so you might have to chuck a slow cooker on. Or maybe, I'm just doing basic problem solving here. But none of that happens if you don't feel the pinch, and your immediate solution is not to give yourself up, and not to give up your time and your priorities and putting your needs last. Because at the end of the day, all our needs are important. All our needs, whether that's in a relationship, whether it's in a family setting. And when they're not met, then we're not going to be happy, are we? And I'm not talking about a one-off. I'm not talking about a situational thing, where you work as a team, for example, in a relationship or in a family, and you go, yeah, I will do that this time, and you communicate. I'm talking about, if you've set a goal, for example, let's go with something simple. I'm going to walk for 30 minutes a day and listen to some podcasts. I'm going to do what I just asked you to do at the start of this one. Grab your shoes, just go outside, nothing special, 30 minutes a day. If you were not capable of squeezing that in, then what are we doing? If you can't make time and don't have the energy, I've said this before, if you don't have 30 minutes for yourself, whose life are you living? Do you have a life? Is it your life or someone else's? And I know that if you asked every person in your immediate household, in your relationship, people that you care about and deeply care about you, if you said to them, do you think it's unreasonable to take 30 minutes to myself every day? The answer would be no, because you should. And that doesn't mean, I'm just throwing out the exercise thing, because I've just done a workout and it's important to me, and obviously I encourage everyone to move because it is so good for our mental health. But for you, it might be just 30 minutes of, I'm going to go sit in my car and talk to my best friend. I'm going to go 30 minutes of staring at a wall. I'm going to do 30 minutes of painting. I'm going to do 30 minutes of closing my bedroom door and organising my wardrobe. It doesn't even matter what it is. What is important is taking 30 minutes, if that's where you are at, if that's where you're starting. For some of you might be, I'll have a lunch break every day because work is pushing my boundaries. So anyway, the solution, I guess, to these, I'm throwing a few out there for you. You don't have to come up with that one just yet. I'm hoping that as you kind of journal on this and as you ponder and maybe think about it over the next few days before New Year's Eve, just the goal for 2026 is, why do my needs come last? And the way that you're going to uncover this, because remember, you've got all year to uncover this. And if you implement change around them, they're bonus points for you, extra marks. But it's just to uncover it. So it might be things like when people say, oh, who's going to shower first, me or you? And you go, oh, no, you go. Or if people say, who wants the last piece of garlic bread? And you go, oh, you have it. So it's just taking note. Remember, you don't have to change anything yet. It's just taking note of when you're doing it. Oh, I just did that. I wonder why I did that. Or who has told me that this is how I should be in the world? Who have I seen do this before? Is it just purely me? And how does it make me feel? If it makes me feel good, keep doing that. If you're happy with that, don't change anything. Remember, I always say, if it doesn't resonate with you, chuck it out. So this year is just about exploring what works for you, what doesn't work for you, despite of what the world or whoever's telling you. We just really, really want to tune into you and your needs. And we want to make sure that they're honoured because they are important. They are important. And if you're listening to this, you're probably someone who's holding so many things together, and you'll get really, really bitter really, really quick if you don't take time for yourself and you don't stand firm in, I'm taking this 30 minutes. Not ask for it, not justify it to anyone else, just almost demand it, right? Almost like, I say that word because it's just so like, I'm laughing as I'm saying it, how dare we be demanding women? That's why I'm laughing. Like, you're not even allowed to be demanding. You're not even allowed to have strong boundaries. But I dare you to just sit with that. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. The second goal that kind of you'll find naturally flow from this one is start holding others to the same standard that they set for you. So start holding others to the same standard they set for you, but there is a caveat to this, as long as it's in line with your values. What we don't want to do is a tit for tat, right? If you have someone in your life, at your work, that's a bit of a, doesn't do things the way you do them, but those things are important to you. You shouldn't drop your quality of work or the way that you care just because someone else does. What I'm talking about here is if you're continuously going out of your way for people, but it doesn't swing back, maybe figure out like why, especially if when you take a step back, that's met with tantrums or resistance or any kind of negative, like, oh, why are you doing that for? Oh, you normally don't do this, like any of those snarky comments, anything like that. Just really take note of that, because why do you have to overwhelmingly give so much? For what reason? Like, let's sit with that even. Is it a fear of rejection? Is it that you're going to be labelled a bad person? Like, we're leaving all that shit in 2025. We're leaving that behind. So if the standard for you, I'm trying to think of something super simple. Let's think about work. If the standard for you is that you're required to work after hours, and if you're required to do overtime regularly, hey, Lacey, I'm just on the phone. Don't open the door, we'll get cold. I'll come out in a minute.
Do you know that, Mum?
Important.
Can you watch TV?
In there you can. Yep. Not in here, I'll be in there in 5 minutes. Thank you. Oh, so cute. If the standard at work is, for example, that you're available after hours and you're continuously doing overtime, but then if you're working in those after hours and you need some support and nobody's available, okay then, like, let's sit back with that. Why am I required to be available but someone else is not?
Not in there.
No, I'll be 5 minutes and I'll help you, okay? So cute. If when, I don't know, and like I said, it's not tit for tat. For some of these things, you might go, I know they're not available, but I like to do a good job and I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of staying back. And that's how I like to when I put my name on something, I like it to be good work, but see how that removes all the bitterness, because that's in line with your values. It's not if I'm expected to stay back, then you have to as well. If I'm expected to work harder, then you have to as well. So that's the caveat. The caveat is that you do things in line with your values. And you'll notice this like feeling in your body, or maybe a mood change or a bit of bitterness creeping in when that is so out of balance. Like, say if you're always the one organising things in your family, or if you're always the one reaching out to people, if you're always, so that I guess they're the things where if you enjoy that and you like to be that person, you go off. But if you don't, then maybe sit with what you need. Are you giving in your friendship or family what you need, but not receiving it back? Because that's a needs. Remember, needs. What are your needs? That's a little bit of a mismatch, I guess, on that end. And what you'll probably find is this is not a, well, that's it. That person's out of my life. I'm quitting that job. It's not that kind of thing. Remember, all you can do is change yourselves. So what you'll find will happen in those instances is that when you take a step back and readjust and really consciously choose what you want to do, the negativity and the bitterness and the energy draining, all that is, it goes away. You still get the shits a little bit, but it's not like a drainer. Does that make sense? So it's kind of giving you back that control. You're aware of it. It's not just happening and you're going, this is bullshit, this is unfair. You've actually taken a moment. And this is why journaling is great. So that's the second one. Start holding others to the same standard they set for you, with the caveat of within your values, within your values. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of all these negative examples of people, which is not very helpful, and I'm sure you've got your own, and you probably thought of something, someone, or situation as I was talking anyway, so let's just leave that one there. You're not a child, or maybe you are, I don't know. Hopefully, even if you're like a teen, I won't say a little teenager, I don't mean that. Even if you are a teenager, because a lot of you are not little at all. If you're a teenager listening to this, maybe this relates to schoolwork, it relates to your mates, or just somewhere where you feel like you're doing way more than everyone else is doing. So just sit with that. And also, by the way, don't just like silently, passively, aggressively do this. If it's safe enough, have a chat. Like, if it's happening around people that you love, you can talk to them about this. You can say, do you know what I've noticed? Don't just be like, well, that's it. Cutting grandma off because so like really, if it feels safe and if you're comfortable, have those conversations with people, and hopefully there might be a reason why. They might say, I've been going through a tough time, I haven't been my usual self. Like, have that open conversations if it's safe. It's not always safe, but if it's safe, do that. All right. Last but not least is a little bit of more of a traditional one. So now we've set with why do your needs come last. And maybe when I said that first goal, you said, I don't even know what my needs are. I'm going to have to download that life review. The second one was start holding others to the same standard that they set for you. And you've gone, geez, this whole new concept. I just do all these things and I've never worried about that. And then the last one is choose an area of discipline for yourself, aka a non-negotiable. So I earlier mentioned that 30 minutes of walking. For some of you might be getting up. Oh, gosh, I love saying this one. Get up before the kids get up. It's really tricky, that one, because I have children known for not sleeping, or Lacey's just expanded her sleep to 2, so that's been pretty good for us. But what that means is that, it's just tricky, hey. I have actually tested this one as a goal for myself. So I'm going to say what it is. Oh my God, what am I doing here? So get up before the kids get up is a common thing that you hear on social media and well-meaning people who that works for. My kid is the kid that the second I get out of bed, they get out of bed. So if I'm getting up at 4 a.m., which would be what I would need to do to get all my things in, because it's only like 90 minutes earlier that I'm up anyway, that would mean that we have a tornado up probably by 4:03 a.m. Who just magically wakes up as soon as I do. And when I've gotten out of her bed, I literally get to her door and I get a, where are you going? Or I go to my room and she comes in 3 minutes later and says, oh, I slept by myself all night. And I'm like, okay. So look, you can try that. I think for me, for that one, and I'm going to try that one, I'm going to not give up on it yet. For me, it means that even though I get up at 4, it doesn't mean I'll get a workout in, and let's just see how that goes. So I'll just have to see how that goes. The 4 a.m. where I'd like to go down to the garage and do a workout and maybe jump in the sauna before I get ready for the day, might become the 4 a.m. sitting with Lacey and maybe doing some journaling quietly so she can go back to sleep. And I'm okay with that. I think I'm more interested in getting into a habit of, into that routine. That's going to be my non-negotiable. That's just something I like to do. So yeah, for you might be going for a 30-minute walk. It might be 30 minutes to yourself. It might be, and maybe you'll start journaling once a week. Like, it doesn't have to be, it can be a daily if you're up to that, but it doesn't have to be. You can start with a weekly thing, because maybe you're someone who's at home a lot and none of this is realistic, and you're so buggered by the end of the day when you get time to yourself that journaling wouldn't work anyway. So you might go, but on the weekends I can squeeze that in, or make sure it's something you love. Like I said, for me, it's like I'm really clear on why I want to exercise and look after myself for this year. So hence the journaling, one or the other, and the rest will have to get juggled around somehow. We'll see how I go, and hence I will review it. You know, at the start of this I was saying the review must be seasonal. If you don't have anything like the seasons that I mentioned, if you're like completely not in a space of big things like going back to work or any of that kind of change of season, for you it might just be like actual nature based seasons. So it might be at the start of winter, at the start of summer, autumn, spring, whatever, wherever you are. So that might be your seasonal review. But please take a moment after this walk, even if you're like still walking now, just to like stop for a second and write those 3 down, or jump in the hub that I've got created. I'll put the link down there. It's a free membership. Just have a look at that, have a squeeze at the resources in there, and maybe just go, yeah, these are the 3 I'm going to sit with. And maybe like see how I've done 3, why do your needs come last, start holding others the same, and choose an area. The reason why I want you to do that is because that's, if you haven't bothered to put yourself somewhere on the list, maybe not even first on the list as a first priority, just somewhere on the list, having a non-negotiable will be helpful to help you also uncover the other 2. Like, why didn't I get that? It's just a Sunday. I just want to go, I don't know, every Sunday I want to go to church. Every Sunday I want to go to a yoga class. Every Sunday I want to go to, I don't know, a mindfulness walk. I don't know. It doesn't have to be, whatever, you figure it out. But, and then if those things don't happen, really have a think about why they didn't happen, and then who's holding you to a different standard, blah, 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 blah. All right, it's a journey, explore it. And I'm going to leave that one now because I told my little tornado I'll be 5 minutes and she's come back to hold me accountable. All right, I'll leave all the resources down there and I'll chat to you next time. Bye.